Hi, and welcome to the Executive Interview Series. Today, we are joined by Dr. Jeremy Chrisp, CEO at EpiAxis Therapeutics, a privately funded epigenetics company that is focused on developing novel therapies to overcome treatment resistance and prevent cancer recurrence. With their unique approach and promising clinical validation, EpiAxis Therapeutics aims to make a significant impact in the oncology market. Thank you for joining me today, Jeremy.
Look, my pleasure. I'm really pleased to be here.
Amazing. Now, to begin our interview today, can you provide an overview of EpiAxis Therapeutics' unique approach to cancer treatment and how it actually differs from traditional therapies?
Sure, happy to do so. Look, allow me to start by giving you a little bit of background on EpiAxis. Because we were founded in 2015, we came out of an academic institution in Canberra. We've been privately funded throughout the process. We've got a very active shareholder group behind us of high net worth and two small VCs funding this novel program. And it really came out of some very interesting research showing that LSD1 was a very important, we believe, driver of metastatic disease. But what differentiated EpiAxis from all the other sort of cancer therapeutics opportunities, and in fact other epigenetic companies more specifically, was the fact that we believe that this was designed for combination usage from day one. And that's one of the reasons why we had a pioneering study commissioned very early on so that we could understand how epigenetics really played in the cancer field. And so we've been very different from day one, using a novel approach to regulate LSD1, which is highly differential compared with all the other programs that have been out there trying to regulate LSD1. So LSD1 has been recognized as a validated target in metastatic disease, but has been largely unsuccessful in achieving that goal. EpiAxis sets out to change that paradigm, as we believe we found a novel way to regulate what we call the LSD1 co-rest axis. And this is a novel way that we can disrupt that axis to stop this methylation process, which is overactive in metastatic disease, from occurring without touching the catalytic site. And that is a really important point of differentiation. And that, we believe, allows us to have a very much superior toxicity and improved survival profile. And this is why we say we can improve upon and prevent metastatic disease.
Amazing. That's indeed very fascinating, the work that you're doing. Now, EpiAxis has demonstrated clinical validation in a proof of concept trial for breast cancer. So could you share some key findings from this trial and how they actually support the efficacy of your therapy?
Yeah, so we went to the clinic first and ran a pioneering study called Epi-Primed for prolonging remission of metastatic disease. This, in fact, was the first time that an LSD1 inhibitor, and we chose a surrogate drug, phenosine sulfate, was used concurrently with standard of care. And in metastatic breast cancer, that was our Abraxane, a leading chemotherapy agent. And so what we've identified from that pioneering study, which was published last year in Frontiers in Oncology, was the fact that we could reprogram these circulating tumor cells and remove their aggressive phenotypes, which allowed the cancer to evade standard of care. So that was a very important finding. It was a small study, but nevertheless, it showed unequivocally that we could remove the aggressiveness of these circulating tumor cells, which we believe allows for metastatic disease to exist. The second most important point, which we've only recently identified, which is yet to be published, is on the immune side of it. And we have now got the data from the PBMCs, the immune cells, if you like, which shows us that that novel combination of an LSD1 inhibitor with standard of care allowed us to re-energize the immune system, which is terribly important. And so we've got this combination benefit coming along, which this pioneering study identified, where we can reprogram and remove the aggressiveness from these cancer cells and reactivate the immune system, which is a really effective way of dealing with metastatic disease.
That's brilliant. Now, we know that the market opportunity for oncology is very significant, with the global market valued at over $163 billion. So, how does EpiAxis plan to position itself as a global player in this market and then capture a substantial share of the market?
Yeah, the global market is huge, as you quite correctly pointed out. And the way EpiAxis is approaching this market is fundamentally twofold. First of all, importantly, with our novel approach, it has broader applicability across multiple solid tissue tumors and hematological malignancies. So in other words, we've got very broad commercial appeal across the entire global market from an indication perspective. And secondly, we recognize that we'll have to partner with a pharma company that has existing reach into those global markets with their sales and marketing teams. So the combination of the novelty of our drug together with a partnering strategy, we believe will give us access to that global market.
Brilliant. That's very impressive. Now, EpiAxis has a strong IP portfolio with granted patents covering LSD1 inhibitors in combination treatment settings. So, how does this IP protection provide a competitive advantage and ensure a long-term value for investors?
Yeah, we've invested heavily in intellectual property, and this is because we've got first-in-class assets, and therefore, from a defensive perspective, we've built a picket fence, if I could use that term, around our intellectual property. And we've got about 50-odd prosecutions going thus far. We've got 14 granted patent families around the world to allow us to have legal recourse should parties choose to infringe on intellectual property, because this is really the assets of the business. So indeed, we have sought to protect shareholder value by investing heavily in intellectual property, by filing our art and recognizing our art through the IP system as a defensive strategy to protect the value of our assets long term.
Perfect. Now, the recent nomination for epiresotide as the lead candidate for IND advancement, it is a significant milestone for EpiAxis. So can you actually explain the unique features of epiresotide and how it actually addresses the challenge of treatment resistance and cancer recurrence?
Yeah, so epiresotide is a first-in-class candidate. It's got some novel attributes to allow us to disrupt this LSD1 co-rest axis. And those attributes allowed us to have confidence in selecting as a lead candidate. It has a very good half-life for a peptide drug. It's very stable in blood. It can enter the cell. It can gain access to the nucleus. And it had no safety concerns from the animal studies that we've done thus far, and it seemed to be incredibly well tolerated. So it seemed to have all the attributes that gave us confidence to advance this into the clinic, which is really important. So there are the features side of it which gave us confidence. From the benefit side of it, it has the ability to reprogram and resensitize cancer cells to have clearance with standard of care therapies. And that's really important to allow us to give effectiveness to existing therapies and why we're adding it with standard of care. So that was really why epiresotide was selected to have the advancement and spend the resources, if you like, shareholders' funds to get it into the clinic.
Amazing. That sounds incredibly promising, Jeremy. Now, as a parting question, let's talk about future milestones. So, could you provide some insights into the upcoming short to medium-term milestones that investors can look forward to?
Yeah, look, thank you for that. We've embarked on a expensive program right now, and we're hoping to have a very enhanced data package around epiresotide in this quarter, so by the end of quarter 3 in 2023. And that will really reinforce the efficacy and safety and tolerability of epiresotide and why it's got that first-in-class label, which is really important. I think from a midterm valuation inflection point, Our plan is to have a pre-IND meeting with the FDA, and that's a major de-risking for any potential investor coming in. And this is well recognised by our existing investors, because once you've been to the authorities, you understand exactly the pathway between where you're at now and what's required to get you into the clinic and first in human use. So that's what we're working towards at the moment, and we encourage investors to come and join us in that really exciting journey that we have.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Jeremy, for coming on for this interview and sharing such wonderful insights about the unique approach to cancer treatment. For those who are interested to get in touch with the team at EpiAxis, please see the details at the side of the screen or in the description of this video. Once again, thank you, Jeremy, and I wish you all the luck with your venture.
Well, look, we really appreciate that, and thank you for allowing us to join you this morning.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.